I shaved my shitty beard into a mustache the other day, and I look and feel like Tom Selleck right now. The Tom Selleck fan club, the Magnum PI fan club. I guess that's what I'm running. I look like I'm the head of that. Oh man. Alright, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick. This channel is called Watchlist Roulette. It's a channel dedicated to the discussion of cinema. Films, I could be current films, I could be films of old. The discussion of the Criterion collection, which we're getting into now in today's video. I do a series called Watchlist Roulette where I scramble well over 1,000 films, probably 1,100 films, and I randomize my watch list and I pick films at random and I come back and discuss them, which has been a lot of fun. Well, for me, it's just a sick little game I'm playing with myself to discover films and corners of cinema that I haven't gone to yet. If you're into that, you can subscribe to the channel for more of this stuff. If you want to give the old thumbs up, you can do that too, to say that you enjoyed it and I enjoyed making it, and that's all that matters, I guess. But okay, down to brass tacks. As people in the show Dragon's Den, which is a Canadian version of Shark Tank, or the people in Shark Tank say, let's get down to brass tacks. I think they say that. I do know they say, for that reason, I'm out. And if any of the recommendations I give you make you feel that way, then I haven't done my job today. And today, my goal is to recommend you a couple of films from the Criterion collection that you may wish to buy. If history is an indicator, usually February is when Criterion has a 24-hour sale, 50% off. This is the time of year where a lot of people are looking to capitalize and add to their collection. I know I always do. For me, it's like a twice a year thing where I add some stuff that I feel like I need for my collection. And if you are looking for things to add to your collection, I'm gonna recommend a few that maybe you are already familiar with, maybe you're not familiar with, but nevertheless, ones I want to share with you that you might be interested in picking up. The Criterion sale of whatever kind is always a good time to consume. And also, you know, media. Let's get into the recommendations starting now. This is a film I watched for the first time the other day. I bought it blindly not too long ago. Okay, you know the feeling when you see a film for the first time that it totally gravitates toward what you like. Like every bit of your taste, from the way it looks to the concept of the story, to the characters, to the themes that they're playing with. Sometimes you just see a film where it just clicks on every level with what you like, on all cylinders. And for me, this film was that. And I want to share it with you. And if you are into a similar thing, then I think you would love this film. The film I'm talking about, it is Spine number 667, and it is Seconds, directed by John Frankenheimer. This is a film that deals with, I really don't know how you would categorize it. I don't know if I would call it science fiction, but it is a little bit, because you are dealing with an otherworldly subject, in that in this film, a man who is, I think we're led to believe, is reasonably wealthy. He is introduced to a concept that there is a company that for a large sum of money, they will reconstruct you the way you look. You will be removed from your old life and dropped into a new one. You will have a new face. You will have a new identity. You're going to get a second chance at living. And if this life that you're living is too mundane and too, I guess, boring and unfulfilling, you might be interested in taking them up on it. You know, spend $30,000 and you're an older man and you give them this money and they reconstruct you to look like Rock Hudson. And Rock Hudson is the second chapter of this man's life as he undergoes an extensive plastic surgery to become another person. The company provides a reason of death for his older version of himself, and so that old version of himself is erased and he just assumes this new life. He's fucking scam callers. Fuck you. Scam caller interrupted everything. But he goes into this new life, and he's younger, he's more attractive, he meets a woman, he goes to some pretty extravagant parties, and he just kind of gets dropped into this new and exciting younger version of life, again doing it all over again and living what might be a more fulfilling life. But trouble ensues along the way. It becomes a lot more chaotic, he becomes a lot more paranoid. This experiment that he's undergone is something that he's having a hard time grappling with, and he's kind of at some point trying to figure out, well, what if I want to go back and redo this? What if I want to change again? What if I want to evolve again? What if I want to go back? What if this isn't right? What if the artificiality of all of this is too much and incorrect and is not fun anymore? And his character goes down this downward spiral of trying to figure out what's going on in this experiment, how to fix it, how to undo it, how to live with it. It goes from the concept of, well, what if you can go and live a fantasy life, one better than the one you already have? What if you want to become another person? I think at some point everybody thinks about, what if I was born somebody different? What if I had more money? What if I was more attractive? What if I lived in a different geographic place? This is a film about an experiment that would give you the answers to all that. But what if that's not enough? The film has very trippy visuals in this black and white, a really eerie score, eerie sound effects, eerie and odd, disturbing visuals. It is a very surreal film. A lot of the cinematography is very experimental and very in your face and very claustrophobic. Like everything about the style of it and everything about that concept, almost like a really fucked up episode of The Twilight Zone or something of that ilk. If that sounds like something you would be into and you've never seen Seconds, holy shit, drop everything and go find it. Some stuff in this film just feels like it was so far ahead of its time and so much more graphic and surreal and disturbing than films of that era were. This sick and twisted journey that John Frankenheimer's taking you on, Rock Hudson's amazing performance, like everything about this film I loved. And if you were into surreal films that unravel and become more fucked up and abstract as they go along, I think you would really, really dig Seconds. I would highly recommend you check it out from the Criterion collection during a future sale. The next film I want to talk about is a film by Billy Wilder from 1951. It is Spine number 396, and it is a very gritty, cynical, and often a frustrating film, but an incredible one, and that is Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole is a film about a journalist who is kind of sick of telling these small-time stories at this firm he's working at. And as old reporters of that time might say, hot scoop. He finds his own hot scoop in a man who is trapped underneath some rubble in this kind of cave that's collapsed. And instead of finding a way to help the man out of it, he kind of extends the life of this story. He realizes he has a story of a lifetime on his hands, a man trapped in peril in a situation he can't get out of. So instead of helping the man, he decides to bring more reporters to check it out. Makes it this big breaking story. It becomes a giant media circus. At some point, somebody decides to start taking money to allow people to come in and see him, like a sideshow. This is a film about greedy capitalist America. This is a film that I remember seeing Spike Lee talk about it, and he said it was very influential. And I think a simple thing that he said in an interview I saw with him talking about it, he said, you know, it's America. It's where there's a dollar to be made, you better believe somebody's gonna make it. Somebody's gonna try to make it. And this is a film about watching a character played by Kirk Douglas, which I haven't mentioned yet, who, number one, sees the story of a lifetime in front of him from a career perspective, but there's also a gigantic financial gain from running this media circus, for getting the attention of everybody in the town. Again, it becomes an attraction. It becomes this giant thing in this small area where not a lot happens. Guys like Chuck Tatum, played by Kirk Douglas, really don't want him to get out, because we can extend the life of the story. We can extend the amount of money there is to be made by this whole roadside attraction. It is watching a character become overcome with greed and letting that totally override their moral compass. And it becomes a very sick, frustrating thing to watch. And this is a character who is an anti-hero, and you're not really rooting for him, and you don't really like him, but you're kind of overtaken by his charm. You're charmed by him and his charisma. And you are the only one who, as the viewer, you are the only one who knows that he's trying to keep up this lie. Everybody else is trying to find ways to get the man in peril out of his situation, and is a lot more honest. And you, as the viewer, are the only one who's inside on the secret that he is trying to milk this and keep it going for as long as he can to get a great story, to win a prize as a journalist, and to make money. And this is a film about watching greed be the downfall of this awful character. If you were into films like that investigate capitalism and the downright evil greed that it can inspire, this is a film for you. Again, a frustrating character to watch, but not in like an annoying way. Not at all. It's incredibly entertaining and so well crafted and well acted, and every aspect of it is just to the T's. It's like, honestly, it's like a fucking perfect film. It's just amazing to watch as it unfolds, and it gets crazier and crazier. It just like we love all these anti-heroes in movies and television. They're not great people, but we are fascinated to see what lengths they will go to get what they want. If any of that sounds interesting to you, trust me, ace in the hole. Amazing. Amazing film. This next film I'm going to talk about again is a film that I watched not too long ago, and it's a pretty recent release from the Criterion collection. It comes from a filmmaker and a comedian and a comedic actor that over the last couple of years I've grown to really love his style. This is Spine Number 1071, directed by Albert Brooks. It is Defending Your Life. Defending Your Life is a very simple film in its concept, but if you watch it, there's so much more to unpack and so much more detail. This is a film about Albert Brooks and this is not the only film where he plays like a yuppie type corporate worker bee character. He's like getting into this new promotion and he's buying a new car. And this is not a spoiler. He dies at the beginning of the film, gets hit by a bus, and he doesn't go to heaven, he doesn't go to hell, he goes to this kind of in-between place in the afterlife, and he's riding a tram to this otherworldly between place in the afterlife. And he's gone to a place where you are, as the title suggests, defending your life. You are kind of going into a court proceeding where somebody in that world has been appointed to represent you in a court case. And in this court case, you are revisiting parts of your life to determine times where you showed moments of courage. And if you are successful in showing them that you did that, you get to go on. You get to go on into this wonderful afterlife. You get everything you want. It's you know, utopia of some sort. And if you don't excel at this court case, and you are shown for being somewhat of a coward or being reserved or not stepping outside your comfort zone, you're going to go back to Earth. You're going to go back to Earth not as yourself. You're going to be reincarnated, and you're going to live life all over again in somebody else's body. You're going to have no memory of the last one, and you're going to try again. You're going to try again and figure out how to rise to the occasion in a moment where you need to show courage and to be a decent human being. That's another part of it. You know, obviously, if you're a shitty person, you're probably not going to get to the next step. And if you've never seen a film of Albert Brooks' characters, who were quite similar in all his films, to be honest, which is not a bad thing. How do we explain the personalities of the characters of Albert Brooks? Socially awkward, neurotic. If you are familiar with the Woody Allens or the Larry Davids of the comedy world, he's somewhere on that spectrum, but not totally the same as them, but somewhere similar in the same neighborhood, often questioning or critiquing the social oddities of our society and the way people interact, and making keen and funny observations about the world around them. But his characters are often not what you would call brave, macho, assertive characters. He's very awkward and neurotic, and so a character being put on a trial for showing how courageous and brave and smart and kind they are might not fare well for him. And so throughout this film, this is a huge challenge for his character. He meets Meryl Streep, who plays another character, complete opposite of him, totally the goody two-shoes angel type of character. He kind of falls for her. There's this connection between the two in an opposites attract way, and the two of them are navigating this dream world and wondering, the days are counting down. Am I going back to Earth to live again? Or am I going to go on to the next place, which is where I want to be? And the film is super, super, super funny. So many playful ideas that Albert Brooks experiments with in what you would see in an afterlife, the way people act, just what another world after this world would look like, how dead people process what's happened to them and, and what's going to happen to them. Just that he just has to invent a whole new world in this film. A place called Judgment City. It's just so interesting and creative, and such a funny way to look at what we might encounter after we die, and what we'll be judged for. So super funny. He's brilliant. Meryl Streep is great in this film, and she's super charming, as she always is, but in this film particularly, I was like, man, I could not fall in love with her, to be honest. Rip Torn in this film, who plays Albert Brooks' lawyer defending him in his case, is fucking hilarious in this film. Totally perfect for that part. Honestly, it's just such a great time. Wholesome film that I think anybody could relate to or connect to. I highly recommend you check it out. If you're looking for a laugh or something lighter within the Criterion collection, no doubt check out Defending Your Life. Amazing film. By the way, there's an essay in this Criterion Blu-ray written by Ari Aster, who I love. And he talks about growing up, how Albert Brooks' comedies were a huge influence on him. And honestly, with this film, if you've seen Ari Aster's more comedic stuff, you can see the connection. It's kind of wild, and it seems a little bit far-fetched, but you can see a bit of a connection. And it's I don't know. Albert Brooks is just really creative in his comedy. So yeah, love it. Check it out. Think about adding it to your collection when a sale rolls up. That is Defending Your Life. But if there's one film here in this video that I could recommend to you, whether you're a 18-year-old woman or a fucking 85-year-old geriatric man, it doesn't matter. I could recommend this to anybody of any film taste, of any walk of life. I think it's enough to make anyone crack a smile. You could say this about all of Charlie Chaplin's silent comedies, but specifically this one, which I think a lot of people would refer to as the creme de la creme, as they like to call it, and probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin silent comedy. It's just a classic, and if you're familiar with the Criterion collection, I don't need to tell you about it, but if you're new here, then this is definitely a film that you want to look out for. That is Spine Number 680, directed by Charlie Chaplin, starring Charlie Chaplin as the Tramp, and City Lights. City Lights, again, is like the quintessential Charlie Chaplin comedy. You've got the Tramp character, who's iconic, again, clumsily kind of just waltzing through life, just being a total klutz, not knowing any better. Meets this blind flower girl, totally falls in love with her. She, again, doesn't really know who he is, can't see him, doesn't know him for what he is. He's wearing this ragged clothing, he's just a total stooge, and not tall, dark, and handsome or charming. He's just a fool, and she takes a liking to him, even though she doesn't really know who he is. He kind of ends up spending a bit of time with her. She finds out there's a treatment that might help cure her blindness, which obviously would be amazing. Through a cornucopia of mischievous events, Charlie Chaplin's The Tramp is trying to save up the money. He's trying to pool the money together to help this woman that he's fallen in love with. He gets tangled up with this pretty much borderline suicidal millionaire who's a total drunk. Charlie Chaplin's The Tramp ends up going to a lot of crazy parties that he's not invited to, gets in a lot of trouble, becomes a professional boxer at one point. Again and again, there are so many different chapters and things that his character goes through, and every one of them is a total riot. It is from the physical comedy to the mannerisms and the looks on his face and the way his character expresses himself. Everything about this film is a comedy masterclass in a fashion that is G-rated, that I could recommend to anyone and everyone. It is just one of the most irresistible, likable films. For a film that, let's take a look here. This film is like 90 something years old. And you would think, if you're new to silent comedies, if you've never seen one before from this era, you would wonder, well, how does it hold up? Are the things that were funny then still funny now? Am I gonna like the way it looks? Am I gonna like the music? Is it gonna be too slow? This, that. The reason why City Lights holds up as the masterpiece that it is because everything in the film, from the humor to the way the characters interact, to the set pieces, to the physical comedy, it still works. Everything about it, nothing feels dated. Everything about the gags, to the story, to the heart of the film, it all feels timeless. There's just nothing in this film that feels dated or worn out or what a modern audience would find stupid, or it's just everything works. It's the definition of timeless, in that when it was made, it was hilarious then. When you watch it now, it's still funny, and not in a funny for the time it was made funny genuinely funny and just totally charming, and I guess you would use the word cute, and just, I don't know, it's just so lovable in all of its wholesome clumsiness and mischief and total. It's Charlie Chaplin, it's the Tramp, it's crazy, unhinged hijinks cranked up to 11. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's just a lovable film. If you've never seen a Charlie Chaplin film, I beg you to drop everything you're doing and go do that now. And if you need somewhere to start, City Lights is the place. But really all of them are great. The Gold Rush, The Circus, Modern Times is amazing. You could pick any of them, but if I had to go to it, if somebody posed a question, you're going to a desert island, you're going to take one Charlie Chaplin film. For me, it's City Lights. So that is it for my Criterion Collection recommendations this time around. Again, this is the beginning of February. If history repeats itself and my Nostradamus instincts are correct, chances are there's going to be a sale this month in a couple weeks, about 1 week, 2 weeks. Maybe we're going to see what happens, but hopefully when it does happen, these recommendations I've given you come in handy. I know I'm going to be picking up some films for my own collection. When I do, I'm going to come back and make a video showing you what I got. And right now in this video, you can leave me in the comments what you're looking to pick up next time a sale rolls around. I'm always interested to see what everybody else is into and looking for, on the hunt for when these sales roll around. It's just an exciting time if you're a film collector. And yeah, let me know what you're looking out for, and we can just shoot the shit talking about movies. And again, if you were into the current film circuit, if you are into classic films, classic Hollywood films, international film, the Criterion Collection, this channel is going to be what I hope to be a great home for all of that. I'm going to start working on some visual essays, hopefully, on films I love. I'm going to continue to do the Watch List Roulette series where I pick films at random and I come back and discuss them. And just more Criterion Collection related videos as well. So if you're into any of that, you could subscribe to this channel to keep on top of what comes out next. Like the video, because I think that helps. I think it helps. Yeah, somebody tell me if it helps. I don't know. I'm still new to this. This is all fucked up to me. But with all that said, that's it for this video and the Criterion recommendations. Hope to see you again sometime soon. I'm trying to find a sign off, but I don't have one yet. So you can just stare into the depths of this broomy mustache as I bid you farewell.